There are certain words that are tongue twisters, especially if you are not speaking your native language. For instance, if you were asked to say the word Lollapalooza, whether you can say it or not might have to do with where you're from. And if you were in the Pacific Theater during World War II, how you pronounced that word might determine whether you lived or died. Welcome to Building Mettle, brought to you by Baird & Wilson Sheet Metal. In order to detect infiltrators and spies in the Pacific Islands, U.S. soldiers would ask those who appeared to be friendly allies to say the word Lollapalooza. And if they couldn't say it correctly, they were likely spies. This is called a shibboleth, which is a word from the Bible. In the book of Judges, chapter 12, the Gileadite soldiers would ask those who wished to cross the captured Jordan River if they could pronounce the word shibboleth. If they couldn't say it correctly, they knew they were the enemy. On the worst day of the Apostle Peter's life, he tried to disguise himself. He had already denied twice in one night that he was one of the followers of Jesus. After a little while, those standing there went up to Peter and said, "Surely you're one of them. Your accent gives you away." Then he began to call down curses, and he swore to them, "I don't know the man." Immediately, a rooster crowed. The disciples of Jesus were from Galilee, a region north of Jerusalem. A Galilean accent in the middle of the night, during an arrest and trial in the temple courtyards, is a shibboleth. Only a follower of the most famous Galilean would be anywhere near there. It was only a few hours earlier that Jesus had gathered his disciples together in an upper room of a Jerusalem house, where they would celebrate the Jewish Passover together. It was here that he told them he was going away. "My children, I will be with you only a little longer. Where I am going, you cannot come. A new command I give you. Love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this everyone will know that you are my disciples." Simon Peter asked him, "Where are you going?" Jesus replied, "Where I am going you cannot follow now, but you will follow later." Peter asked, "Lord, why can't I follow you now? I will lay down my life for you." Then Jesus answered, "Will you really lay down your life for me? Very truly I tell you, before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times. It wasn't Peter's love that revealed he was a follower of Jesus, because it was curses coming out of his mouth, not love. Instead, it was his accent that betrayed him. And I imagine for the rest of his life, whenever he heard a rooster crowing, it reminded him of that horrible night. Besides giving them a new commandment, Jesus said many important things at the supper that evening. These would be the things he wanted them to remember the most before he died. During the meal, Jesus got up, poured water into a basin, put a towel around his waist, and began to wash the feet of his disciples. This was customary for servants to do in a household, since guests wore sandals and their feet would get very dirty. Jesus said to his disciples that they are not to be like the world, where leaders boss people around, but instead, the greatest among you should be like the youngest, and the one who rules like the one who serves. He also told them that he was going to die, that his death would establish a new covenant and bring forgiveness. They were to remember him and the covenant through this meal on a regular basis. He took bread, gave thanks and broke it, and gave it to them, saying, "This is my body given for you. Do this in remembrance of me." In the same way, after the supper, he took the cup, saying, "This cup is the new covenant in my blood, which is poured out for you." And then the Gospels reveal that along with the disciples, there was another presence at the meal. The serpent had been following them all along and looking for an opportunity ever since he sparred with Jesus in the wilderness 3 years earlier. As soon as Judas took the bread, Satan entered him. So Jesus told him, "What you are about to do, do quickly." But no one at the meal understood why Jesus said this to him. Judas then left the supper. We will not see him again until he leads a detachment of soldiers who come to the Garden of Gethsemane later that night to arrest Jesus. He identified Jesus to the soldiers by greeting him with a kiss. We talked in our last episode how Jesus described those who are genuine and those who are imitations. Judas pretended to be a genuine follower of Jesus, but in reality, he is not. Ironically, later in the temple courtyards, Peter pretended not to be a follower of Jesus, but in reality, he is. Right after Jesus told Peter that he would deny him, he said, "Do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me." Jesus also told them that when he goes to the Father, he will send them the Holy Spirit to live inside them. He said, "The Advocate, the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, will teach you all things and will remind you of everything I have said to you. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled and do not be afraid." Jesus was saying to Peter, "I know who you are. I know your weaknesses, and I am not surprised by your failures. In fact, I know them before you even do them. But you are mine, Peter, not because of the strength of your obedience, but because of the power of my love. Try as you might to disown me, to disguise yourself, but you will always be with me because you are mine. That is your native language. That is who you are." Here are some tools to take with you. Number 1, God is not disillusioned with us because he does not have any illusions. Number 2, on your worst day, you are still his. And number 3, what other people think of you does not determine who you are. We'll be back again soon with another episode of Building Mettle. The music of Building Mettle is a production of Jed Brewer and Good Loud Media, Oak Park, Illinois. Also special thanks to Christ Community Church, Oak Ridge, Tennessee.